Morning, boys and girls. Welcome to day 2 of our videos on Kingsholm Primary School Maths. Today we're looking at, still looking at the grid method, still looking at using the grid, drawing the grid, but we're just going to have a little tweak today around some of the numbers we're going to be using. So we're going to be upping some of the numbers we use to numbers maybe that we don't use so often or we haven't used so often already. And then we're going to be looking at different ways of how questions might be presented to us to just try and challenge our thinking. So one of the questions we've got in front of us here is a slightly different way of challenging our thinking. Now, it's kind of in pictorial form to sort of show us the number, and we're multiplying here, we know, by 4. Okay, so when I know I'm multiplying by 4, but this here, what have I got going on here? Now, I can have a think back to yesterday's lesson where we were looking at breaking numbers down into tens and into ones. So straight away I can look at this, and if I think of this as tens, there's my tens, I've got 2 tens, and I've got 1, 2, 3, I've got 3 ones. Okay, so straight away my number that I've got, my numerals that I'm going to have is 23. But it's 2 tens and 3 ones. So I'm going to break it down again just like we would. It's 2 tens and 3 ones. This 2, again, we can think of as 20. Now, I'm going to go straight away to the grid method. We did this yesterday. And the brilliant thing about using the videos is that if you did get stuck a little bit, if you missed yesterday's, it's still online. You can go onto the website and go to the link and you'll be able to catch up on what we did yesterday. So here we've got our 2 tens, we've got our 3 ones. Now, it's written here as 23 multiplied by 4, but when I'm doing it, it's easier to have my single digit number here for now. Later on in future years, when we come to some slightly larger numbers, we might have to manipulate the grid a little bit. But at the moment, it's good to use that single digit here. So our 4 is going to go in this box here, 4 times, and I've partitioned 23 into 20, 2 tens, into 3, 3 ones. So I've got my 20 and my 3 there. Now working out what goes in my boxes, I've got 4 multiplied by 20. 4 times 20, and here I've got 4 multiplied by 3. Now, here I can look at this 4 times 20. I know it's 4 tens, and the place value counters here actually help me with that. It's 2 tens, so I can think of that as 4 times 2 tens when I'm solving it. 4 times 2, a lot easier to think about than 4 times 20. As long as we remember it's 4 times 2 tens, that's the key. Now, just to help me, I know it's going to be to do with 4s. So down my side here, my table ladder, I'm going to write down my 4 times table. 4, not sure of the next one. So on my fingers, I'm simply just going to count 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Okay. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And I'm going to keep going. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay. And I'm going to keep going. Now, eventually, we will learn our 4 times table. And times table rock stars, I'll just put a quick TTRS, is a really good way of learning those, so we're quicker at our times tables and we can solve our harder multiplications with bigger numbers a lot smoother and a lot quicker. If your login for that is not working, if you email on the school website, send through to the year 3 link and I can send you out your login if you've got it. Back to our times table ladder. We've stopped here at 40. We've done that again, just like we said yesterday, because it's 10 times. It's a good place to stop. It's a good way of checking our table ladder. I'm going to jump back to my grid and I'm going to use this table ladder now. So I've got 4 times 20, 4 times 2 tens. So 4 times 2 is 1, 2. That's 8. But again, it's 8 tens. 8 tens. I know, I'm quite good at my 8 times table now. I've been practicing it for a few years. As of you guys, we know that 8 tens is going to be 80. We place that 0 back on. Okay, we jump to the next column. 4 multiplied by 3. 4 times 3. 1, 2, 3 is 12. And I've got 80 and 12. I'm just going to do a quick columns here. As we said yesterday, good practice to get in the habit of doing these columns. It keeps the column method nice and fresh in our minds. And it means when we get on to harder questions, we've got this method of going straight from our grid to our columns. We've got that ingrained, so it's quicker for us to do. Our brains work quick when we're doing it. 0 ones, add 2 ones, gives us 2 ones. 8 tens, add 1 10, gives us 9 tens. And my answer to that is going to be 92. Now, on the next set of slides, I want you just to pause on the do it. You've got a variation today of questions. We've got questions that look similar to this, where we've got place value counters in the questions. We've also got questions where they look with base 10, and we've got one that looks like a bar model as well. All of them need the same grid method process. It's just how you get that question in the first place that is the difference. Is it churning place value counters into the numerals? Is it turning deans and base 10 into the numerals? On the slide, when you get on there, pause it. Have a go at the question in your books on pieces of paper. And then the next slide is going to be some answers on there. So pause it when you get onto the questions. Pause it when you get onto the answers. Check which ones you've got right, which ones you've got wrong. If you've got some wrong, have another go at them. Try them again, another way. And start all over again, not another way. Start all over again. Work through with an adult maybe to look over your shoulder and see where you're making the mistakes. So going on to the next slide, pause on the next slide so you can look at the questions and do the do it section. Okay, boys and girls, hopefully you got on okay on the do it questions. Again, if you did get any mistakes on that, if you got any wrong, just have a look through them yourself, okay? Have a pull apart of the questions. At the moment, on the videos, I'm not planning on going through every single question, just for time and space and things like that. But if that is a necessity that people would like to do, then just contact me and say, yes, Mr. Hennessy, can you go through all the questions, okay? This next question we're going to have a look at is the apply it, okay? And it is looking at what is wrong with this question here. What have I done wrong? So the next slide, you can just pause it. It's a lot nicer layout than it is on my whiteboard, and you can have a proper look at it. And then when you're ready and you think you've got it, we'll go through the mistake that's been made. Right, hopefully you've had a bit of time just to look through the different question here and try and spot the mistake that's been made. So those of you that have spotted it, if we have a look here, we've partitioned the 3 into 30, the 32 into 30 and into 2, into 3 tens and 2 ones, and we've still got the 5 ones. Now, when we've moved from here to the grid, you can see the 30 is here, and we've got 2 up here and the 5 there. So when this has been laid out, they've followed the order of the digits from the question and not kept the 32 together. The 32 should be together in the same side by side next to each other when they've solved that. Okay, so that's the issue, and if you manage to spot that, really well done. Okay. We're now going to move on and have a little look at the next section of our maths for today, which is looking at a solve it type question. So I'll just get the board ready and we'll go from there. Here we have our solve it today, and we're looking for these empty digits to try and figure out, right, what number would have gone here. Basically, we're trying to find out what was the question that started off. We know it was 4 times something, and we've got 2 possible digits, and we also need to work out the answer. So we've got our 4, we've then got our something something, and we've got our answer. So we're trying to sort of work it backwards, our grid method here, to try and find out what we've got. We know that's going to be something to do with our tens. We know that's going to be our ones, because we've done that previously, and that's how our grid method works. So it's just about thinking, right, 4 multiplied by something gives me 80. Can I use 4 multiplied by something gives me 8? Oh, if I know that, do I know that? Probably means I know that. This one, we got 4 multiplied. That's a rubbish multiplying sign. 4 multiplied by something gives me 12. 4 multiplied by something gives me 12. What do I know is multiplied by something to give me that? And then we can work it out. We can do a quick columns to the side to get our answer. And you should have a solution for that, okay? I'll go on to the solve it, and then you can have a little go at the first solve it question. If you wanted to have a look at the second solve it question, that's another option to have a go at now. And when I go through this question, I'll also explain the next solve it question, which is a bit more open-ended for you to have a play with today. Okay, we'll have a little look at solving the first solve it. Have a look at solving the solve it. I know my 4 times table. I'm going to write it down this side just for a change. It's different. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40 again. I stop at 40 because I know it's 10 times. It's a nice place to stop. And this really helps me just see what's going on with my maths here and where all these links can go together. So I've got 4 times something gives me 80. 80's not on here, but I know that that's going to be something tens. So I can treat that as tens. That's 8 tens there. So that's going to be something tens. 4 times something gives me 8. There's 8, 1, 2. So 4 times 2 tens gives me 8 tens, which means here I've got 4 times 20 gives me 80, which makes that number up the top 20 there. In the ones column, I've got 4 times something gives me 12. Oh, there's 12. 1, 2, 3. 3 lots of 4 give me 12. So there's my 3. 4 times 3 gives me 12. And my 3 goes up the top there. Now, I partition these to start with to get these here. I'm now going to recombine them at the bottom. So I've got my question I started with. 4 multiplied by 23 gives me something. And I'm going to add up the 80 I've got here and the 12 from the ones column. 0 add 2 gives me 2. 8 add 1. 8 tens add 1 10 gives me 9 tens, so 92. So my answer to this is 92. Now, hopefully you managed to sort of work that back and fiddle it around. A thing that really helps is just my table ladder down the side. It just means there's less things for my brain to focus on and for my brain to sort of juggle around while we're doing the maths. Okay. I'll just get ready for the next question, and then you can have a little look at the next solve. Okay, this is the next solve it question. Now, you might have had a go at this. I'm just going to go through sort of how to go with it, and can you play around with different things you can do with this question. So the question says you've got this sort of layout. You've got a 2-digit number multiplied by a 1-digit number. okay? And you're only allowed to use the digits 2, 3, and 4. So that means you've got to put these digits into these gaps. So for example, I could treat that as 2 10s, 3 1s. I get 23, and I multiply by 4. I've used my 2, I've used my 3, I've used my 4. And then I'm going to solve that then. Solving it, how I'd solve it, I'd do my grid method for it. I know that that's going to be 20. I've done a lot of partitioning now. So I know that's going to be 20, and that's going to be 3 1s. That's going to be my 4, and then I can start to work out my grid method from there. Now, what you're aiming to do in this is you're trying to get the product. The product, if we remember back, is the answer to our multiplying question. So the product is this number here. This answer to any multiplying question is the product. So we're trying to get this answer here as close to 100 as we can. So we might have to try one, see what the answer is. Maybe try the digits in a different way around, see what the answer is. Can we get as close as we can to 100? As close means you might be a little bit below. You might also be a little bit above, but we're trying to get as close as we can to that 100. Okay, you'll have to try a few different ways to see which ways work. The next two little challenges for this are, can you work out what numbers give you the largest product, the biggest answer to your multiplying question? And can you also work out which ones might give you the smallest product, the smallest types of answer to your multiplying question? So have a little play around with that. It's a lot of practice of our grid method, which we're getting really good at now. And it's just solving it to see, right, what can I get? Can you maybe find a number that somebody else in the house hasn't managed to find? Once you finish that question, I have put on the bonus slide from yesterday, the solve it from yesterday, the dice game, which again, you can try and change, you can adapt, you can make it your own game. So you've created your own multiplying game, and you can have a go at that. As always, just send us any feedback, anything you think, oh, Mr. Hennessy, I'd like you to have a little go at just going over something a little bit more. And we'll try and keep the videos coming. Hope you're all well. Talk to you soon. Enjoy your maths today, boys and girls.